What was the creepiest or most paranormal thing that's ever happened to you? I dropped my mug onto the floor accidentally. Heard no noise when it hit the floor, go to pick it up and it's gone. I honestly went to bed and pondered what happened and slept feeling incredibly uncomfortable. Edit. Jesus Christ, this kicked off more than expected. Obligatory thanks for the gold. And alas, I never did find the mug. Still bothers me to this day. One afternoon in college I came back from classes and decided to sit on the couch and have a snack. After that I just passed out. I had a nightmare of some bloody-faced demon-ish thing screaming in my ear at the top of its lungs. Woke up and went about the rest of my day. My roommate comes back later that night and goes into his room as I'm sitting in the main living area. At some point he lets out this random startled scream which leads to me running down the hall to see what's going on. He looks at me and goes, I swear to God someone with a bloody face just walked from your bedroom into the bathroom. I never told him about my nightmare I had earlier in the day. I didn't sleep for 2 days. Nothing ever happened again. My brother and I were home alone one night watching TV. My mother was working a night shift and father was out. Father came home and pushed his door ajar and poked his head through to say hello. We both turn around and say hello back. Father closed door. 30 seconds after, another man opens the door to say hello. We both turn around and say hello back. Man closes door. We assume a friend of my father has come back to the house too. Anyway, about 5 minutes later I head into the kitchen where my father was, making dinner or whatever, and I'm expecting to see his friend again. I see that he's alone making dinner and assumed his friend was upstairs in the bathroom. I ask my father who his friend is. My father looks at me and asks me, what friend? I reply, the guy who came back with you. Dad looks at me thinking I'm some sort of weirdo. He says, I came back home on my own. Biggest WHAAAAAAAAAAAAAAT I've ever experienced. My brother was freaked out to the max. Remembering the man's face, he was pale looking and bright white hair. When I was in college I house sat for my parents. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat so I locked every door leading up to the bedroom when I went to bed at night. I had the weirdest dream that someone unlocked each door and turned on every light. I felt cold and woke up to my dog barking. All of the lights in the house were on and every door open and unlocked. My dog wouldn't stop barking at nothing in the hallway. I sat in the shower with my dog and a phone the rest of night scared to death. My grandmother's house had a very distinct smell. Nothing bad though, just a grandmother's house smell. Anyway, when she came to visit us she always used to sit in a specific chair in the living room. Shortly after she passed away my father, my older sister and myself came home and when we walked into the living room and we all smelled her. My dad said, hello Ethel, and the smell disappeared. I would be skeptical if just one of us experienced this but it was all three of us. My boyfriend and I woke up in separate parts of the house in hysterics, naked and covered in sweat. When we both finally calmed down and talked we realized we had the same dream of being surrounded by a group of black and white people with no mouths. When I was about 5 or 6, I was sitting on the back deck of my family home, an old farmhouse. I remember this old lady walking up the steps and going straight into the house without acknowledging me. I follow her inside to see who it is and my mom is standing in the kitchen room right off the back deck. I ask her who's here and she gives this confused look. Around that time, the original owner of the farmhouse died and I am 100% convinced it was her. My grandfather passed away when I was 8 and my little brother was 2 or 3-ish. He had this big lazyboy chair in the living room that he always planted himself in. Everyone knew this chair was Grandpa's chair. Anyway, we went down to my grandparents' house in Florida for a long weekend to attend the funeral, etc. We're all chatting the first night there in the living room, and my mom was sitting in the lazyboy chair. My little brother goes up to my mom and says, Grandpa wants his chair back. My mom asks him where Grandpa is, thinking he probably didn't understand death, to which he responds, he's right behind you. My mom bolted off that sofa immediately.